no one falls into it. No one falls into it. No one wakes up one day and goes, I've been comics. No, it never happens. Everyone fights and claws and comes up with crazy schemes to break in. Everybody wants to write comics. Everyone's like, oh man, or draw, or ink, or color, letter. Everybody wants, no one falls into comics by accident. We're all fans.
So welcome everybody to Fan Expo Dallas, our Creator Spotlight. I'm Dan Slott. My name is Moises Shuyan. I co-host a few podcasts, host a few of my own comics podcasts called Giant Size. I went to high school and did theater. Robbie Dolnig over there, and that lets me tag one of my first questions that I wanted to ask Mr. Dan Slott. Theater actor. Theater actor.
Theater. Yeah.
How did you get into performing? Did you get into it as a kid?
Yeah, well, all the time. I was going to do the whole schmear, but I kept getting I was very lucky. I kept getting the kind of parts I always wanted to get. Anytime I wanted a part and I did an audition for it, I either didn't get called back or that's the part I would get. I like that sweet spot. And then I was auditioning for this thing in LA for a play where I wanted the specific role, and I was shooting for it. I kept getting callback after callback after callback for it, and they cast the entire play except for that role, and they did like a series of callbacks where it was me and one other actor, and they just kept doing 2 whole acts of the play, swapping us back and forth. And the director said he wanted me, but I was too short. Like, I didn't match with the romantic lead. She was like a foot taller than the person he wanted. And the other guy didn't want to go with it, but he said, like, I can't use you. But he pulled me aside and said, I've saved another role in the play for you. I want you in the ensemble. You're good. I always want to work with you. But you have to realize these are the roles you're always going to get. And you have a good look. You have a good take. It would be frustrating. I would go with friends to auditions just to keep them company and talk. And it would be for, like, male ingenue roles. And I'd just be hanging out with them. And the person would come up to me and go, would you like to read with us?
We could use a best friend of the hero type.
Yeah, no. We could use a young Danny DeVito. We need a young Danny DeVito kind of, because there's certain kind of actors that fall into that zone. I can name all their names, and I'm like, all right, and then I wouldn't be ready. And they go, do you have a headshot? I'm like, no, I just, my friend,
you guys started this.
Yeah, my friend would always, whoever I do it would be like, this again. And I kind of realized if I stayed in theater, if I stayed or went on to TV or went on to film, this would be my career. I would be that guy, and I would be that guy, and that's who wants to be one role. And at the same time, I was also doing playwriting and script writing, and I grew up reading comics and loving comics, and I did my own comic strip for my college newspaper, which is a superhero thing, and I just thought, you know what, I'm switching full-time to writing, because when I write, I get to be all the characters. I get to be everybody.
Your mind is the play stage.
Yeah, it's awesome. You don't have to just be that one narrow band. And I think that helped me in comics, because when I broke through doing funny animal stuff, Mighty Mouse, Ren and Stimpy, Looney Tunes. Like, everyone kept going to me for that. And what I wanted the superheroes. I wanted the stuff I grew up with. I wanted Spider-Man. I wanted Batman. I didn't, and I had fun doing it. As a kid, I watched Looney Tunes. When I saw Ren and Stimpy before anyone else saw Ren and Stimpy, like the majority of people saw Ren and Stimpy, because I saw it on the animation festival circuits, the thing that became the pilot. So I loved all this stuff, but this isn't what I wanted to do for a living. And it wasn't until someone gave me a shot it was almost like I fell into the same trap I was going to fall into as an actor. And someone gave me a shot by accident doing Batman Arkham Asylum. And that whole job was a complete accident. I had pitched something completely else. It was different. There was a Justice League Adventures book, and I got to work on that, and then the Justice League editor said, if I close my eyes and I imagine this was standard comic book art and not the Bruce Timm style, these are good Justice League stories. Would you like to do Justice League? I'm like, yeah. And I said, can I pitch you other stuff too? And I pitched him a couple projects, and one of them was a Phantom Stranger book, and it was kind of like it was basically Twilight Zone in the DC universe, but Phantom Stranger was your Rod Serling. So every month, it would be like a different weird Twilight Zone thing happening to Deadman, or to Robin, or to Mary Marvel, or something else, but it would be like a Twilight Zone story. And at the beginning of the story, Phantom Stranger would come in and go, now let's see another strange adventure. And then at the end, he'd be like, oh, that was interesting. And that was the whole thing. And they liked some of the pitches and some of the stories. But I wasn't a big enough writer, so I didn't make the pitch. He pitched it. The editor pitched it in the room. And you know the game Telephone? Okay. Well, the game Telephone happened around the room, where someone went, we can't sell a Phantom Stranger book. No one cares about Phantom Stranger. Where else could this be? And someone in the room suggested, not me, I wasn't in the room, what if these are all crazy ideas that are happening in the minds of someone in Arkham Asylum? And so we could see Arkham Asylum as like a house of mystery, and then we go into this story. And then people started talking about Arkham Asylum, people forgot about this Phantom Stranger thing altogether, and it became an Arkham Asylum book. And I get this call from the editor, and he goes, and this was on a Friday, and he's like, okay, they love both your pitches, but they want you to do the Arkham Asylum thing first. And I went, great! Because I was like off doing Looney Tunes and Dexter's Lab and Cow and Chicken and Powerpuff Girls, and I was like, oh man, if I do a Joker rape scene in the shower, I will never have to do another Bugs Bunny again. And what was great was when that came out, and there was that shower scene, if you read Arkham, it got written up in the Washington Post, and they loved it. And Jeff Johns, I didn't know from Adam, really liked the Arkham Mini too, and he was promoting it like crazy at DC, going, this guy's good. When the Washington Post wrote it up, there was a comment, they mentioned the Joker rape scene in the shower, and I get this call from my mom, who read the Washington Post, says, why did you have to write that? Can't you do more of the Bugs Bunny and the Tweety Bird?
Can't they write nice things about you in the paper?
Can't you do that? It was great. But my parents are great. They're wonderful. They're very supportive, but they are wonderful reverse barometers. Like, we had a bit in She-Hulk where, because we played up the fact that she was a lawyer. So we treated like Ally McBeal with muscles. And she would take care of court cases that could only happen in a comic book world. Like, does the Eye of Agamotto, the truth being found, does that take away, is that illegal? Can a ghost stand testimony at his own murder trial? Like weird kind of comic book things. Is someone who kills their past self and their future self, is that suicide or is that, murder? Like doing all kinds of weird law cases. And we had a bit where Spider-Man was suing the Daily Bugle for libel, and She-Hulk's law firm was helping do that. And there's this sequence where they finally put Spider-Man on the stand.
This is one of my favorite things you've ever written.
Oh, thanks. It's nice to know I peaked in 2004.
It's only kept going up since then.
Thank you. But Spider-Man finally takes the stand in this one scene, and She-Hulk's friend Pug asks him, so Spider-Man, what is it you think J. Jonah Jameson, why do you think he has it out for you? And he goes, well, over the years, I've dedicated a lot of thought, and I really thought about this a lot, and I think the real reason Jonah hates me is because I'm black. And you cut to everyone in the court going, and Jonah going, I didn't know. Some of my best friends are, and then Spider-Man goes, kidding. And I ran that joke by my dad, and my dad went, that is not funny. No, this is gold.
One of the things I like the most about your writing is you wear your fandoms on your sleeve, the things that you really love. You see the influence of Doctor Who on your Silver Surfer run, and having spent, I think, a sizable portion of your childhood in England, reading 2000 AD, watching Doctor Who, Judge Dredd. How have you found that to inform the projects that you seek to do next?
The reason the Silver Surfer book came around, both Tom Brevoort and I are really big Doctor Who fans. And when we were, do you guys remember Infinity, when Marvel did that event? Jonathan Hickman, it was really good. we have these meetings, like 3 or 4 times a year where we fly in all the writers and we have these big Marvel Creative Summits. And we plan out everything we're doing for like the next year, sometimes 2 years ahead. And one of the things we do, if we have a big event like Infinity, we talk about, okay, what new books spin out of this? What new directions does the Marvel Universe out of it? So the event has impact. It's a big story and there's outcomes from it. And when we were coming out of Infinity, they're saying this is now a time with how well Guardians is doing. Let's expand the cosmic line. What kind of new cosmic books should we be doing? And the first thing on the list was Silver Surfer. And I was working on Spider-Man. I'm still working on Spider-Man. I'm never stopping working on Spider-Man. My plate is like so full, but I love Silver Surfer. Like I mentioned how in college I did a superhero comic strip in the paper, my school paper. It was a shameless knockoff of Silver Surfer. It was called Nuke Surfer. It was about a guy in a post-apocalyptic landscape that surfed off the afterblast of nuclear explosions. Awesome! It was actually quite terrible because I can't draw. We sold T-shirts. It was great. Anyway, so like I have this love of Surfer. Surfer is actually the first superhero comic book I ever read. My cousin gave me my first superhero comic book to read when I was visiting his house, and it was the Galactus trilogy. Like, up till then, I'd read some comics like Kitty comics, like Richie Rich and Archie and stuff like that, but my first superhero comic, he was like, I think you'll like this, and he started me with the 3 issues of the Galactus trilogy. So I kind of met the Marvel Universe with the Silver Surfer. I was great love with the character, and here we were pitching for Silver Surfer, and I couldn't say anything because I was too busy. So I was just like, I'm going to sit here, I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to not pitch for this book. And Axel Alonso, our editor-in-chief, gave a speech to the room. He said, okay, before anyone pitches for Silver Surfer, here's something I want you to know. I don't want to read a book about a cosmic hippie. No, don't give me cosmic hippie. That's it. That's my only thing. We're all good with this. No cosmic hippie. Well, the problem is, not that Surfer is a cosmic hippie, but that's pretty close to the zone where your compass is going. You know, it's cosmic hippie. No, you don't want to read that, but it's still kind of close to the zone. And since he said, don't give me cosmic hippie, everyone was aiming their pitches 180 degrees away from cosmic hippie, and they were doing stuff like, it's Silver Surfer, and he's on the intergalactic Black Death Squad, hunting down people, and like, what the hell, no? I'm like listening to like one like stealth mission Silver Surfer.
What if the Silver Surfer became the Punisher?
Yeah, or the base. I was just like sitting there like, this is horrible. But there was a lot of people like, you know, you're fans and you want to be in the community. You want to be, you know, you want to work for Marvel or DC or Dark Horse or Boom or IDW. I love that there's 2 Batgirls. That is fantastic. That is awesome.
Double the Batgirls, double the fun.
No, that is, no, are you guys together? Okay, because it would have been weird if you weren't. That is fantastic.
Down to the styling of the costume.
It does. It's fantastic. Those are great costumes. Is that a baby stroller?
Yeah.
Is there a Batgirl baby in the baby stroller?
No.
Damn it. That would have been the capper. You hold up the little one.
It was going to be Harley Quinn, but she
but
wanted to.
you could have done like a whole kind of Russian doll thing. That's going to be weird on your YouTube video. What the hell are they talking about?
I can't see. Turn around.
But one of the hard things about being in the community is like if you're online or even if you're talking to someone, if you have a problem, you can mouth off about it. Or if you just read your comics and you're hanging out with your friends in the diner, you can just, oh, this sucked, or this is great, or this is, you can say whatever.
Can you believe that they...
Yeah, but if you go into that room, you know, you got to be a pro. You got to be a, you know, and I learned that quick. I had one fan meltdown in a room once. And I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm lucky to still have a job. I can never do that again. You can't do that. Where someone had an idea, and this is ages before the Inhuman stuff we're doing now. This is really early on when I was in the room to begin with, where someone went, I think I know how to make some humans work. Everyone's like, oh, okay, how do we do this? From now on, Black Bolt can speak. And I went, what? What the heck? Black Bolt can Jack Kirby with Star Wars and Black Bolt king of the universe of the world, and he can't look at his hands with the dog. What the hell is this? What the kicker double Steve? What? And everyone's like, dude. I just let every fan thing out of my mouth, and everyone's just like, that's not cool, man.
Dude, you don't do that.
Yeah, and then someone pulled me off to the side and went, are you writing any women's book? No. Are you writing Black Bolt? I'm like, no. Why do you care? I'm like, so when they were doing all the Silver Surfer Death Squad in space, I was just kind of like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just, but luckily people were like, because it was a lot of the stuff people were pitching was so off from Silver Surfer that no one was kind of going, yeah, let's do that book. No. So at the end, and you got to trust the room. That the stuff that comes out of the room will be good. That everyone kind of went, none of this is clicking, and Axel went, I agree. Let's table this. Let's talk about Silver Surfer at the next one of these. I don't think anyone's got it yet. We'll come around to it. And
you pulled a Columbo?
Well, excuse me. No. That weekend, I was talking with Freeborn on the phone. We were just gabbing about stuff. And I went can you believe those Silver Surfer pitches? And he said, yeah. Well, those were weird. And he said to me, what would you do if you were doing Silver Surfer? And I thought this was just two guys talking, like the fantasy football or something. Like, I have Joe Namath, and I have this, I'd have this guy back from the dead, and I'd have this guy that would be the best team, And Tom Landry will, he just. I was just saying I would do this and this and this. And went, if you did this and this and this, you could do that and that and that. And I went, if it was like the Russell T Davies reboot, you kind of think of it where you're meeting Surfer for the first time and you have a new character that's an eye-level character like the companion, like Rick Jones was with Captain Marvel, and you can do this, you can do that, and what if her name was this because you can do that, and we just started talking for 3 hours.
Where did Mike Allred's name come in?
We started talking for 3 hours about a book that he wasn't editing and I wasn't writing, just because we were being fans. And then there's this long pause, and he goes, write it up. So what do you mean, write it up? He's like, write it up. I want to edit that book. No one's doing Surfer. I want to edit this specific book. This sounds awesome. And I'm like, when would I do it? I'm doing Spider-Man. He's like, you'll find a way. And what that meant was I stopped sleeping. So I'm going a little like, woo. And part way when I was writing a lot of this stuff up, Tom calls me on the phone. He goes, you know who would be perfect for this? I'm like, who? And he goes, Mike Allred. And I go, oh my God, that would be perfect, because then Dawn would be an all-red girl. Like when we'd be talking about Dawn Greenwood, we talk about her, our phrasing for her is Miyazaki heroine. So if you like the work of Hayao Miyazaki, we see her very much, that's her kind of role. If you see a movie like Nausicaa, if you see something like Spirited Away, she's, she cares about everyone, she does her thing, anyway. We think of her as a Miyazaki heroine. But then you say Mike Allred, I'm like, and she's an all-red girl. I already love her. I can already see her in my head. Oh, this is perfect. This is fantastic. Oh, and he can do Kirby like nobody else. And this is the perfect guy for this book. And while in the middle of doing this, Tom goes, oh, yeah, but we can't use him. He's doing FF. I'm like, why did you bring that up? And he's like, don't worry, we'll find someone. We'll find someone good. And I just kept writing it in my head as if Mike Allred was drawing it. And we didn't have Allred lined up. And then FF fell through. And he was looking for a new assignment. And Tom, went for him. And when we got Allred. We got Allred? He's like, yeah, we got Allred. FF fell through. And he's more than happy to work on Surfer. He thinks it's cool. And I get this, there's either a phone call or an email from Mike where he was reading the first script and he went, did you write this for me? I went, yes. Yes, I did. But it was a pure fluke. I think that gave him a terrible first impression because it made him think I could write a book in a day.
Here you go, Mike. You got hired yesterday. Here's a full issue.
Here's a full issue. And no, I'm the slowest son of a... Any questions? Oh, I was looking at the guy in yellow.